Hey there, Facebook. I'm just waiting for people to show up. Hopefully, you can hear me and the music's not too loud. Um, for you guys that are tuning in, this is Stony Raw, my autobiography, or I should say, my video autobiography. And you guys that are joining online, if you can just kind of comment so I know you can hear me. The thing is, everything is good. And we'll get started here in a minute. The thing with going live is you kind of got to wait a little bit for people to join. Otherwise, you're talking to yourself. So hopefully this music's not too loud for you. 70s rock, gotta love that, right? Hopefully it's not too loud and you can still hear me. All right. So for you guys that have joined in, and a lot of you guys will join this later, I'm doing a series called Stony Raw. It's basically a video autobiography about my life, and the past videos are out posted on YouTube. So if you search YouTube under Stony Raw, you will see the prior videos that lead us up to now, which is about 1975, 1976 time period. And we've already moved to Sunnyvale, and this is where I meet my BFM. And BFM for me stands for my brother from another mother, Trino. He was basically the next door neighbor, next door kid that lived right next to us. Next door kid that lived next door. Yeah, he lived next door. His name was Trino, and he was probably the first kid I met when we moved into Sunnyvale. Again, I think it's about 1975, 1976, and what is it about that time? How old I am? I am probably about 9 or 10 years old when we moved to Sunnyvale. And so I meet this kid next door, little Mexican kid, Trino Benitez, and a little chubby kid compared to me because I was, tiny, skinny, tiny. Not that anymore, but I'm skinny, tiny now. And Trino lived next door. And I remember when we moved in, he was the first kid to come over and introduce himself. And we're playing as the adults are unpacking and doing stuff. And the only thing I remember really at that very time when we moved in was us playing with the big box of the refrigerator. So we had a big refrigerator that I guess we got, and so Trino and I are playing in the box and making a fort and doing stuff like that. So that's one of the early memories. So Trino and I had a very, I would say, rocky relationship as friends. It was on and off. We would get in fights. It was kind of a love-hate relationship. I look at a lot of things that go on in today's world, and you call it bullying. And I just looked at it as that was just part of growing up. It wasn't bullying. I mean, I bullied him. He bullied me. We got bullied by other kids. It was just part of life. You dealt with it. It made you tough. It made you have to deal with things. You can just go to the teacher and complain. So, there was times Trino wanted to beat me up, and I remember that. But through the years, he basically, I know him about a year, maybe a year and a half. I know him a year and a half less than I know my own stepbrother. So when I kind of look at it that way, Trino is close as a brother to me as my stepbrother Russ is to me, and that's it just kind of goes to how family doesn't have to be blood. It can be marriage, it can be friendship, it can be what you want it to be. So through the years, Trino and I went through where we went to grade school together, got in a lot of trouble in grade school. It was on and off. We were friends, we weren't friends. Some of the things in grade school, I remember us getting in trouble with is, making smoke bombs, throwing them in the hallway. And, now you probably go to juvenile hall for that stuff, but we made smoke bombs. We both got kicked off buses, but we always ended up playing with fire, and we were, trying to find something to burn all the time. We burnt down our creek one year by, lighting our little Halloween ghosts on fire. we got in trouble for a lot of different things involving fire, and we were just little pyromanias. But Trino and I, we're thick as thieves. We would lie for each other. We'd cover for each other. We'd get in fights, and it was just like a brother. You'd get in a fight, and then, next day you're friends. It's just really weird. You don't hold grudges. We were inseparable at times, and sometimes we couldn't stand each other. So going into middle school, half that year I was gone. I'd moved to LA, San Jose, and then to LA, and then back within the middle school time period. So what is Nelson? I don't know. I have no idea. The thing that we moved away for a little bit, came back. So Trina and I were separated for a while, then reunited, and we got along pretty well. Ended up going to different schools at that time. That's when him and I started separating a little bit, because I went to one school, he went to a different school for various different reasons, as you'll find out as we go through these things. And then getting out of middle school into high school, we were still friends and did a lot of stupid stuff together through high school. A lot of the next videos will be about those stories, so I don't want to give away that now. I'm going to leave a little bit hanging out there. But we've got a lot of things that happened with us, and I would say things that, just to give you some titles of what some of those things are that happened when we were in high school, is one video will be called Grand Theft Auto. Another video will be Stoney and Trino's girlfriends. Just a lot of things that we went through, and people that are listening will kind of relate to some of that stuff that happened when we were younger. There's a title of a video going to be called The Mother Lode. We'll talk a lot about what the mother lode means. That's when things really got scary for us. Going through high school, we were inseparable to a point, and we both started to get into a lot of trouble. That's where I got to my most trouble, when I was in high school, and the things that we did. And again, there'll be follow-on videos that get into some of those details. But we had our time apart as well, so going through that, and when I actually moved away from Birch, and we ended up, my brother and I moving to Newark, that's when Trino and I separated a little bit and started to go in our own separate ways. I started to clean my act up quite a bit. Trino continued to follow the path that he was following, which was very different than mine, and so we ended up kind of going our separate ways at that point. So, we're about 17, 18, 19 years old. The thing that was a life changer for me in all of this, and again, there'll be another video about this, but I'll share a little bit of that now, is the day before my 18th birthday. Trino was over at my house. I'm in Newark. We did the things we always did. We got high. We were doing things that shouldn't have been doing, but we got high. We decided to go out and eat, and decided to go to McDonald's, and ended up, I was driving my 510 that I worked hard to get. I think that 510, I owned several, but that 510 was one that my mom helped me buy, and George, my stepfather, helped me work on and start to fix it up. And so I had a lot of pride in that car. It was the first thing that I really, really owned, and it was a pride. It was my one of my first 510s, and actually no, it was my first, so my third 510. But Trina and I got in an accident. I ended up going through a red light. We got T-boned. Car was pretty much destroyed for the most part, and that was the turning point in my life to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to continue down this road. There's more to it than this, and I need to start getting my act together. So about that time, about my 18th birthday, is when I started to figure out things and trying to get my act together. And I think that point, for maybe another year, Trino and I hung on, and we separated at that point. I went my own way, he went his way, and we hadn't seen each other for probably 25, 30 years. When I moved up here to Marysville a couple of years ago, I think I met Trino and his wife about a year before that. And we had met on a trip to my dad's house. We had met them out in Corning, and that kind of started the dialogue. I had been separated from him for so long, him being a big part of my life, and now he's not for many, many years, 20, 25 years, maybe even 30. I don't know what, we're 52 now, so close to 30, maybe 35 years. So we just recently in the last couple of years have reconnected, and it's interesting now that we're older, how we relate to each other. A lot of the stories of growing up, you'll see more detail, hear more details about some of our antics and things there. But we had a big part of our life separated, and we came back together. Some of the things we joke about now is we're both 52 years old. We're about 20 days apart in age. I'm 20 days older than he is, so I'm the elder, I guess. So Trino was a big part of my life for a long time, and then not. And now he's back in my life and is a big part of my life today. Being separated as long as we had been separated, we kind of picked up where we left off, but not doing all the stupid shit we used to do. We used to compare horsepower and cars and who had the best car, who had the best motorcycle, who had the fastest this, that fastest that. And now we get on the phone and we're like talking about hybrids and who's getting the best gas mileage and who can drive the furthest on a tank of gas. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, we're old now. But here we are, 52 years old, and now we're friends again, and we picked up kind of where we left off. And he is my brother from another mother, and that's what this whole thing is about, is the people that are in my life. And Trino was a big part, and then he wasn't, and now he is again. So that's this segment of Stony Raw. Again, this will be posted later onto YouTube for you guys that came in late or are going to watch it later. Stony Raw is my video autobiography, and will be done in a lot of short videos. I'm trying to keep them to 10 to 15 minutes. And hope you'll go back and watch prior videos and kind of keep up with my autobiography. And that's about it. So thanks for watching. I'm starting to do this Facebook Live thing instead of just a YouTube. I will download this to YouTube and post that later. But I don't know if this is a good time for everybody, but I figured 8 o'clock was a good time. People are done with dinner, home from work. I don't know if 9 o'clock would be better after primetime TV or 10 o'clock, but I don't know. I figure I'd try this out, see how many people will respond, what I get, what kind of stuff comes out of it. So anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, cheers.